Admiral Hyen-Woo Park was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm bells started ringing. He put down his cup and walked quickly to the main control room of Earth's Deep Space Command. The huge screens on the walls were flashing red warnings. "What's happening?" he asked Lieutenant Jae-tae-moon, who was sitting at the communications desk. "Sir, we're getting a priority message from deep space. It's coming from the Galactic Council," Moon said. His voice was shaking a little. Hyen-Woo felt his stomach drop. The Galactic Council rarely sent messages to Earth. When they did, it was never good news. "Put it on the main screen," he ordered. The screen flickered and showed a tall, gray alien with 4 arms and glowing yellow eyes. This was Council Speaker Velthari, the most powerful being in known space. Behind him stood representatives from 11 other alien species that made up the Galactic Council. "People of Earth," Velthari began. His voice was cold and mechanical through the translation device. "The Galactic Council has made a decision about your species." Hyen-Woo crossed his arms and watched. Around him, other officers stopped their work to listen. "For 200 years, humans have been traveling in space," Velthari continued. "In this short time, you have grown too fast. You have learned too much. You have built things that took other species thousands of years to create." The alien's yellow eyes seemed to stare directly at Hyen-Woo through the screen. "This cannot continue," Velthari said. "The Council has voted. Humans must stop all space travel beyond your home system. You must also give us 70% of your technology. We especially want your faster-than-light communication systems and your quantum computers." Hyen-Woo felt anger rising in his chest. He had spent his whole life protecting Earth and human colonies. Now these aliens wanted to steal everything humans had worked for. "You have 30 Earth days to agree," Velthari said. "If you refuse, the Council will stop all trade with human worlds. We will also consider military action against your colonies." The screen went black. The control room was completely quiet for a moment. Then everyone started talking at once. "They can't do this," shouted Captain Soyoung Lee from the diplomatic desk. "How many ships do they have?" asked Commander Jae-hoon Lim. "Quiet," Hyen-Woo called out. Everyone stopped talking and looked at him. "Moon, get me a direct line to President Choi Lee. I want you to call Dr. Kim from the Xenobiology Department. We need her here now." While his officers worked, Hyen-Woo stared at the empty screen. He had always known this day might come. Humans were different from other species in the galaxy. While most aliens spent thousands of years slowly improving their technology, humans did it in decades. Human scientists would look at an alien device and figure out how to make it better within months. This made the older alien species nervous, very nervous. 20 minutes later, Dr. Yoonji Kim arrived at the command center. She was a small woman with sharp eyes who knew more about alien cultures than anyone on Earth. "I saw the message," she said before anyone could speak. "This isn't really about our technology." "What do you mean?" Hyen-Woo asked. Dr. Kim walked to the main screen and pulled up a star map showing Council territory. "Look at this," she said, pointing to different colored areas. "The Velthari have controlled the same 50 star systems for 3,000 years. The Zephyrians haven't expanded beyond their home cluster in 2,000 years. None of the Council species have built anything truly new in centuries." "So?" Captain Lee asked. "So they are scared," Dr. Kim explained. "Humans have gone from 1 planet to 47 colonies in just 200 years. We've invented faster-than-light communication, quantum processing, and bioneural computers. We're doing in decades what took them millennia." Hyen-Woo nodded. "Slowly they see us as a threat to their power." "Exactly," Dr. Kim said. "The Council has always controlled the galaxy by controlling technology. They decide who gets what and when. If humans keep innovating at our current rate, we'll make the whole system obsolete." The communication system beeped. "Admiral," Lieutenant Moon called out. "President Choi is on line 1. Hyen-Woo picked up the secure phone. "Mr. President, you've seen the message." "I have," came the reply. President Jin-Ho Choi sounded tired, but determined. "I'm calling an emergency meeting of the Terran Defense Coalition. Can you be here in 2 hours? "Yes, sir." "Good." And Hyen-Woo, start thinking about our options. All of them. The line went dead. Hyen-Woo looked around the room at his officers. They were all watching him, waiting for orders. "Dr. Kim," he said, "I want a full analysis of Council military capabilities. How many ships? What kind of weapons? How fast can they move?" "I'll have it ready in an hour," she replied. "Lee, contact all our colony worlds. Tell them to prepare for possible evacuation, but don't cause panic." "Understood, sir." "Lim, get me our fleet status. I want to know exactly what ships we have, and where they are." As his officers hurried to their tasks, Hyen-Woo walked to the large window that looked out at the moon. He could see the lights of Lunar City twinkling on its surface. Beyond that, invisible in the darkness, were the human colonies scattered across dozens of star systems. All of it was now under threat. His wrist communicator buzzed. It was a message from his daughter Hyjin, who lived on the agricultural colony of New Busan. "Dad, we're hearing rumors about trouble with the Council. Is everything okay?" Hyen-Woo stared at the message for a long moment. His daughter had been born on New Busan. It was the only home she had ever known. Now the Council wanted to force all humans back to Earth and steal their technology. He typed back, everything will be fine. Dad will make sure of it. But as he sent the message, Hyanwu was already thinking about something President Choi had said. Think about all our options. Hyanwu had been in the military for 30 years. He knew that sometimes the best defense was a good offense, and sometimes the best way to deal with a bully was to show them exactly what they were dealing with. He walked back to the communications desk. Moon, send a message to General Song at Strategic Operations. Tell her we need to discuss option. Charlie. Lieutenant Moon looked confused. Sir, what's option, Charlie? Hyanwu smiled grimly. Something the council isn't expecting. As alarms continued to sound throughout the Deep Space Command Center, Hyanwu Park began planning humanity's response to the council's ultimatum. The aliens thought they could intimidate humans into submission. They were about to learn how wrong they were. In the depths of space, council monitoring stations recorded unusual activity around human worlds. Ships were moving, but not in retreat. Communication patterns were changing, but not in the way of a species preparing to surrender. The council had made their first mistake. They had given humanity 30 days to prepare. For humans, 30 days was more than enough time to change everything. The emergency meeting room in the capital city of Seoul was packed with Earth's most important leaders. President Jin-Ho Choi sat at the head of the long table, looking at the faces around him. These were the people who would decide humanity's future. Admiral Hyanwu Park entered the room and took his seat. Next to him sat General Dae-Yoon Song, the head of strategic operations. Her gray hair was pulled back tight, and her eyes were sharp as steel. Thank you all for coming so quickly, President Choi said. You've all seen the council's message. We have 28 days left to give them an answer. What answer? Asked Colonial Minister Byung-ho Yoon. They want us to give up everything we've worked for. General Song stood up slowly. She walked to the front of the room where a large screen showed the star map of human space. We have 3 options, she said, in a calm voice. First, we can surrender, give them what they want and hope they leave us alone. Several people around the table shook their heads. Second, Song continued, we can try to negotiate. Maybe we can give them some technology in exchange for keeping our colonies. And third, President Choi asked. General Song smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. Option Charlie. Admiral Park leaned forward. Tell them about Charlie, General. Song pressed a button on her remote. The star map disappeared and was replaced by a single word. Prometheus. For the past 10 years, Song said, we've been working on Project Prometheus. Only 12 people in the entire government knew about it. The room was completely quiet. Dr. Min Soo-han, would you please explain? Song said. A thin man with thick glasses stood up from the back of the room. Dr. Han looked nervous, but his voice was steady when he spoke. Project Prometheus is our secret research program, he said. While we've been sharing some of our technology with the galaxy, we've kept our best discoveries hidden. He pressed another button. The screen now showed pictures of strange machines and star charts. We've developed quantum consciousness transfer, Dr. Han said. We can move human minds across space instantly. We've also created dimensional manipulation technology. We can fold space itself. Colonial Minister Yoon's mouth fell open. That's impossible. 3 years ago we would have agreed, Dr. Han said. But human scientists don't like the word impossible. We've also been working on something we call stellar engineering. What does that mean? President Choi asked. Dr. Han's next picture showed a star with what looked like a giant machine wrapped around it. We can control stars, he said simply. We can make them brighter, dimmer, or create solar flares exactly when and where we want them. The room erupted in excited voices. Everyone was talking at once. Quiet, President Choi called out. When the room was silent again, he looked at Dr. Han. How many people know about this, outside this room? About 200 scientists and engineers. They all signed the highest level security agreements. President Choi nodded slowly. General Song, what do you recommend? We use diplomacy to buy time, Song said. But we also prepare for option Charlie, which is we show the council exactly what kind of species they're trying to blackmail. President Choi was quiet for a long moment. Then he looked at his foreign minister Yujin Kong. I want you to go to the council homeworld. Tell them we need time to consider their offer. Ambassador Kong was a smart woman who had been dealing with aliens for 15 years. How much time should I ask for? As much as possible, but don't make them suspicious. I understand, Mr. President. President Choi turned to Admiral Park. I want you to quietly move our civilian population from the frontier colonies, but don't make it look like we're retreating. Where should we move them? Closer to Earth. Make it look like we're just reorganizing our settlements, yes sir. Finally, President Choi looked at General Song. How long do you need to prepare, Charlie? 2 weeks, she said. Maybe less. Do it. As the meeting ended, people began filing out of the room. Admiral Park stayed behind with Dr. Han and General Song. Dr. Park said, can this technology really do what you claim? Dr. Han nodded. Admiral, we've tested everything on a small scale. The quantum consciousness transfer works perfectly. We've moved test subjects from Earth to Alpha Centauri instantly. The dimensional manipulation lets us hide entire ships in folded space. And the stellar engineering, he paused. We made the star in the Wolf 359 system dim by 30% for 6 hours last month. Why? Park asked. To see if we could, Dr. Han said simply. General Song laughed. That's the most human answer possible. 3 days later, Ambassador Yu Kang was aboard the diplomatic ship Harmony, traveling toward the Council homeworld of Zentara Prime. The journey would take 2 weeks, which was perfect for Earth's plans. Back on Earth, Commander Jae-hyun Lim was overseeing the evacuation of New Busan Colony, but instead of bringing people back to Earth, he was moving them to a new type of space station. Commander asked Captain Taemin Yu, "What exactly is this place?" Lim smiled. "It's a dimensional fold station. It exists in normal space, but it can also slip into folded space in seconds. If the Council attacks, they'll find empty colonies. Where will the people go? Somewhere the Council can't follow." While the evacuations continued, Captain Yu received different orders. Instead of staying near human space, he was told to take his exploration ship, New Seoul, to the outer edges of the galaxy. "Your mission," General Song told him over a secure channel, "is to make contact with younger alien species, the ones who haven't joined the Council yet. What should I tell them? That humanity is about to change how the galaxy works. Ask them if they want to be part of that change." Captain Yu's first stop was the Velkari system. The Velkari were a young species that had only achieved faster-than-light travel. 50 years ago, the Council had been guiding them ever since, which mostly meant keeping them from advancing too quickly. When you met with Velkari leader Takarara, her first words were surprising. "Human captain," she said through her translator. "We have heard rumors. Is it true that your people refuse to bow to the Council? We're considering our options," you said carefully. Takarara's eyes brightened. "If you fight them, the Velkari will stand with you. We are tired of being told we cannot improve our own technology." This conversation was repeated on 6 other worlds. Young alien species across the galaxy were watching to see what humanity would do. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Han was making final preparations for something that had never been attempted before. In a secret facility under the Pacific Ocean, human engineers were building a machine that could move an entire planet. "Are you sure this will work?" Admiral Park asked during his inspection of the facility. 97% certain, Dr. Han replied. "The remaining 3% is just normal human optimism." General Song received daily reports from space. Council fleets were moving toward human territory, but slowly. They expected humans to surrender before any fighting started. "They still don't understand us," she told President Choi. "They think we'll give up when we see their big ships, will we?" the president asked. Song's smile was cold. "Mr. President, they're about to learn that humans don't have a word for surrender. We only have words for regroup and counterattack." As Ambassador Kong's ship approached Zentara Prime, she sent a coded message back to Earth. "Council is confident. They believe humans will submit. They have no idea what's coming." The message reached Earth just as Dr. Han completed his final tests. Everything was ready. Humanity had spent 28 days not preparing to surrender, but preparing to show the galaxy something it had never seen before. The Council wanted to blackmail humans into staying small and weak. They were about to discover that humans had a very different definition of small and weak than everyone else in the galaxy. Council Speaker Velthari was getting angry. Ambassador Yujin Kong had been on Zentara Prime for 2 weeks, and all she did was ask for more time to discuss the Council's demands. Enough delays, Velthari told the Council Assembly. "The humans think they can trick us with their talk. We will show them the cost of defying the Council." The other Council members agreed. They had grown tired of waiting for humanity's surrender. "Send the fleet to Kepler-4 for to be ordered." Council War Leader Sexta, "Destroy their mining colony there. When the humans see what happens to those who refuse us, they will surrender quickly." The Council's war fleet was impressive. 50 massive ships, each one bigger than anything humans had ever built. Their weapons could crack planets in half, and their shields could stop any attack. Admiral Korthman commanded the fleet from his flagship Eternal Dominion. He was a veteran of dozens of battles against species that had tried to resist the Council. None had succeeded. "This will be easy," he told his officers as they approached the Kepler-4 to be system. "Humans are young and weak. They will run when they see us coming." But when the Council fleet arrived at Kepler-4 to be, something was wrong. The mining colony was completely silent. No ships were running away. No distress signals were being sent. "Sir," reported Sensor Officer Velmuth, "the colony appears to be empty." "Impossible," Admiral Korthman said. "Scan it again." The second scan showed the same thing. The colony's buildings were all there, but no life signs could be detected. The massive mining equipment was still running, but no people were operating it. "Send a boarding party," the Admiral ordered. The Council soldiers who entered the colony found it completely empty except for automated systems. In the main control room, they found a single message beacon. When they activated it, a hologram of a human woman appeared. "I am Colony Director Sujin Park," the hologram said. "If you're watching this, it means the Council has shown its true nature by attacking civilians. Thank you for proving that you are not interested in peace." The hologram paused. then smiled. "We have evacuated all our people to safety. But don't worry, we haven't forgotten about you. We know exactly who we're dealing with now." The message ended. Admiral Corthvan stared at the empty space where the hologram had been. "Sir," his communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth. Put it through," the Admiral ordered. The face that appeared on screen was Admiral Hyan-Woo Park. Behind him stood several other human officers. Admiral Corthvan Park said calmly, "I believe you've discovered that our people are no longer where you expected to find them." "Where are they?" Corthvan demanded. "Safe," Park replied. "The question is, what are you going to do now?" Before Corthvan could answer, his sensor officer shouted in alarm, "Sir, energy readings are off the charts. Something's happening to the system star." On the main screen, they could see the star Kepler 442 beginning to glow brighter. Strange energy patterns were dancing across its surface. "What is this?" Corthvan whispered. Admiral Park's image smiled. "That, Admiral, is what happens when you threaten human civilians. Allow me to introduce you to Engineer Bora Chai." A young human woman appeared next to Admiral Park on the screen. She was holding a small device that looked like a handheld computer. "Hello, Admiral," Engineer Chai said cheerfully. "I'm currently controlling your star from this device. I'm about to create a solar flare that will disable all your ships without destroying them. Consider this a demonstration." "That's impossible," Corthvan shouted. "No species can control stars." "You're right," Engineer Chai said. "No species. Who has ever been able to do this before? But humans aren't like other species." She pressed a button on her device. The star Kepler 442 suddenly erupted in a massive, controlled solar flare. The energy waves swept across the system in a perfect pattern, hitting every Council ship at exactly the same time. The Council fleet's shields failed instantly. Their weapons went offline. Their engines stopped working. In seconds, 50 of the most powerful warships in the galaxy became floating pieces of metal. "Your ships are disabled but undamaged," Admiral Park explained. "Your crews are safe. We could have destroyed you all, but we chose not to. Think about what that means." Admiral Corthvan looked around his bridge. Emergency lights were flashing. None of his systems were working. His proud fleet was helpless. "This is impossible," he said again. "Admiral," Engineer Chai said gently, "humans have been doing impossible things for 200 years. We went from riding horses to flying between stars in less than 3 centuries. We learned to split atoms before we learned to heal cancer. We built computers that think faster than we do." She held up her device again. "This little machine can control any star within 50 light years. We built it in 6 months. Your people have been traveling in space for 3,000 years, and you still can't do what we did as a science project." The communication ended, leaving Admiral Corthvan staring at a blank screen. But humanity wasn't finished demonstrating their capabilities in the Sol system. Dr. Kyung-ho Nam was working with quantum physicist Hanul Yoon on something even more impressive. They were standing in a control room on Earth, looking up at the moon through a large window. "Are you ready?" Dr. Nam asked. "Ready," Dr. Yoon replied. She pressed a series of buttons on her control panel. The moon disappeared. One moment it was there, bright and clear in the night sky. The next moment, there was nothing but empty space. All across Earth, people looked up and gasped. The moon was gone. On Zentara Prime, Ambassador Kong was in a meeting with Council Speaker Velthari when the emergency alarms started ringing. "What's happening?" Velthari demanded. A Council technician ran into the room. "Sir, the humans have made their moon disappear. Our sensors show it's gone from normal space." Velthari's forearms waved in confusion. "How can they make a moon disappear?" "I don't know, sir," the technician said. "But our scientists say it's been moved into dimensional fold space." Ambassador Kong smiled. "That's what we call advanced technology. Speaker Velthari, would you like to see more?" 6 hours later, moon reappeared in Earth's sky. But now it had something new on its surface, a massive flag pattern that could be seen from anywhere in the Sol system. The flag showed a blue Earth surrounded by stars, with words written in perfect letters across the lunar surface: "Humanity United." The message was clear to everyone in the galaxy who saw it. Humans could move moons, control stars, and fold space itself. Council monitoring stations across the galaxy recorded the events with growing panic. They had attacked what they thought was a weak, young species. Instead, they had found beings who could do things that seemed like magic. On Zentara Prime, Council Speaker Velthari called an emergency session. The 12 species that ruled the galaxy gathered to discuss what had happened. "They controlled a star," said Councilmember Zarthik, his voice shaking. "They made a moon disappear and reappear. How is this possible?" "The humans have been hiding their true capabilities," Velthari said. "They are not the simple species we thought they were." "What do we do now?" asked another council member. Before Velthari could answer, reports started coming in from across the galaxy. The news was disturbing. Other species were beginning to ask questions about the Council's power. If humans could do these impossible things, what else had the Council been hiding from the galaxy? For the first time in 3,000 years, the Council's absolute authority was being questioned, and humanity had only just begun to show what they could do. The news of humanity's demonstrations spread across the galaxy faster than the Council could stop it. On hundreds of worlds, alien species gathered around their communication devices to watch the recordings of humans controlling stars and moving moons. Captain Tamanu was still traveling between different alien worlds when everything changed. He had been trying to make quiet contact with species that might support humanity, but now they were calling him Captain Yu. Came the voice of Velkari leader Takarara over his ship's communication system. We have seen what your people did to the Council fleet. Is it true that humans can control stars? It's true, he replied, but that's not the important part. What do you mean? The important part is that we chose not to destroy the Council ships. We could have killed everyone on those 50 ships, but we didn't. That's what makes humans different. There was silence on the communication channel for a moment. Then Tokarara spoke again. Captain, the Valkyrie Council has voted. We formally request protection from the human government. We want to join your alliance. This conversation was happening all over the galaxy. Captain, you received similar messages from the Thornian Republic, the Nexus Collective, and 11 other species. Back on Earth, diplomatic coordinator Bay found herself managing humanity's first interstellar alliance. Her office was filled with messages from alien species asking to join the humans. Mr. President, she told Genho Choi during their daily meeting. We have 14 species that want to leave the Council and join us, but there's a problem. What problem? They're afraid the Council will attack them if they rebel. Some of these species don't have strong military forces. President Choi thought for a moment. What do they want from us? Protection, Bay said. They want to know that if the Council attacks them, humanity will help. Can we do that? Before Bay could answer, strategic analyst Dong Hyun entered the room. He was carrying a thick folder full of documents. Mr. President, Oh said, I have some interesting information about the Council. What kind of information? Oh opened his folder and spread several papers on the President's desk. We've been analyzing Council communications and trade records for the past month. We've discovered something important. He pointed to a chart showing trade routes between different alien worlds. The Council's power isn't based on military strength, Oh explained. It's based on controlling technology and trade. They decide which species can trade with each other. They control who gets access to advanced technology. They've kept most of the galaxy artificially weak. President Choi studied the charts. You're saying they've been holding back progress on purpose? Exactly, Oh said. Look at this. He showed another chart. The average alien species takes about 2,000 years to develop, faster than light travel. But when humans help them, they can do it in 50 years. The Council has been keeping everyone stupid, Bay said. Understanding, not stupid, Oh corrected. Just ... limited. They've made sure that no species could challenge them by preventing anyone from advancing too quickly. President Choi sat back in his chair. What happens if we break their system? Every species in the galaxy gets the chance to reach their full potential, Oh said. Instead of artificial scarcity, there's real progress. Dr. Yansu Shin chose that moment to burst into the President's office. She was one of Earth's top scientists, and she looked very excited. Mr. President, she said breathlessly, we've done it. We've solved the embargo problem. What embargo problem? President Choi asked. The Council said they would stop all trade with human worlds, Dr. Shin explained. But we've just successfully created controlled wormholes. We can move ships and cargo directly between any 2 points in the galaxy. She pulled out a small device that looked like a crystal sphere. This is a portable wormhole generator, she said. We can set up direct trade routes between Earth and any world that wants to trade with us. The Council's embargo is meaningless. President Choi stared at the device. How many of these can we make? As many as we need, Dr. Shin said proudly. We can give one to every species that joins our alliance. The implications were enormous. If humans could create wormholes anywhere in the galaxy, then the Council's control over trade routes was finished. Meanwhile, the Council was discovering that their problems were getting worse. Council Speaker Velthari was reading reports from across their territory. Sir, his aide reported, 7 more species have declared independence from the Council today. The Zephyrian Collective has closed their borders to Council ships. The upper Nexus systems are refusing to pay tribute. How many species have we lost? Velthari asked. 23 so far. And the number is growing every day. Velthari's forearms trembled with anger. Send our most powerful fleet to Earth. If we destroy the human homeworld, the rebellion will end. Sir, the aide said nervously. Admiral Korthvin has filed a report about the human capabilities. He says their technology is beyond anything we've seen before. I don't care, Velthari shouted. Send the Grand Fleet. The Council's Grand Fleet was their ultimate weapon. 200 ships, including their most powerful dreadnought, the Galactic Dominion. It was the largest warship ever built, with enough firepower to destroy entire star systems. When Admiral Hyen Woo Park received the report that the Grand Fleet was heading toward Earth, he didn't look worried. Instead, he looked almost sad. Still don't understand, he told General Dai Yun Song. They think this is about military power. Should we deploy our fleet to meet them? Song asked. No, Park said. Let's show them what we've really been working on. Chief Engineer Sun Ho Kong was waiting in the secret facility under the Pacific Ocean. For weeks, his team had been preparing for this moment. Are you ready, Engineer Kong? Park asked over the communication system. Ready, Sir, Kong replied. The dimensional fold generators are at full power. We can move Earth whenever you give the order. Do it. Engineer Kong pressed a series of buttons on his control panel. Around the world, massive machines that had been hidden deep underground began to activate. The Council's Grand Fleet arrived at the Sol system expecting to find Earth defended by human warships. Instead, they found something impossible. Earth was gone. The planet had vanished completely from normal space. In its place was a holographic message floating where the planet used to be. Admiral Hein Wu Park's image appeared in the hologram, looking directly at the Council fleet. Council forces, he said calmly. You came here to destroy our world, but Earth is no longer in this dimension. We have moved our entire planet to a place where you cannot reach it. The hologram paused, then continued. We could have used our weapons to destroy your fleet. We could have controlled your ship's star to disable you like we did to Admiral Korthvin. Instead, we chose to simply leave. Think about what this means. Humans can move planets. We can control stars. We can create wormholes anywhere in the galaxy. And yet, we choose not to use these powers to hurt others. The hologram of Admiral Park looked sad. You had the chance to work with us in peace. You chose to threaten us instead. Now the galaxy will see what happens when fear tries to control progress. The message ended. The Council's Grand Fleet floated in empty space, staring at the place where Earth used to be. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Council encountered something they could not fight, could not intimidate, and could not control. Humanity had shown them that there was something more powerful than fear, the ability to simply walk away and build something better somewhere else. 3 weeks after Earth disappeared, the Galactic Council was falling apart. Council Speaker Velthari sat alone in his great hall on Zentara Prime, staring at reports from across the galaxy. Half the species that had once served the Council had declared independence. Trade routes were breaking down. The careful system of control that had lasted 3,000 years was crumbling. Sir, his aide said quietly, we've received another message from the humans. What do they want now? Velthari asked tiredly. They're not asking for anything, sir. They're making an announcement. The aide activated the main screen. President Jinho Choi appeared, standing behind a podium. Behind him stood representatives from dozens of different alien species. People of the galaxy, President Choi began. Today we announce the formation of the Galactic Innovation Collective. Velthari leaned forward, listening carefully. This is not a government that rules over others, President Choi continued. This is an alliance of free species working together. Any species can join, any species can leave. The only requirement is that members share their knowledge freely so that everyone can grow and prosper. The camera moved to show the diverse group of aliens standing with the human president. Velthari recognized several of them, former council species that had rebelled in recent weeks. Unlike the old system, President Choi said, we believe that progress helps everyone. When one species discovers something new, we share it with all our allies. When one species faces a problem, we all work together to solve it. The message ended with President Choi making a surprising offer. The former council species are welcome to join the collective, he said. We bear no hatred for the past. We only care about building a better future together. Velthari turned off the screen and sat in silence for a long time. On a space station that existed in multiple dimensions at once, Dr. Yoonji Kim was very busy. She had been put in charge of the first interspecies university, where aliens from dozens of worlds came to learn and teach. Dr. Kim called out Valkyrie student Nexera. Is it true that humans learned to control stars in just 6 months? That's true, Dr. Kim replied. But the important thing isn't how fast we learned it. The important thing is that we're teaching it to everyone else. She gestured to the laboratory around them, where human scientists worked alongside aliens from 20 different species. Knowledge grows when it's shared, Dr. Kim explained. The old council hoarded information. We give it away freely. That's why we advance so quickly. Thornian scientist Keftel raised one of his 4 hands. But why share your secrets with us? Don't you want to stay ahead of other species? Dr. Kim smiled. When everyone around us gets smarter and stronger, it makes us safer and happier. A galaxy full of advanced species is better than a galaxy where only one species has all the knowledge. Back on Earth, which had returned to its normal dimension but could disappear again at any time, Admiral Woyoung Kim was overseeing the new Galactic Defense Network. The Defense Network wasn't an army that conquered other worlds. Instead, it was a fleet that protected any species' right to develop freely. Admiral reported Captain Soyoung Lee, we're receiving a distress call from the Nexus system. A group of Council loyalists are trying to force them back under Council control. How many ships do the attackers have? Admiral Kim asked. 12 heavy cruisers. Admiral Kim thought for a moment. Send the New Harmony and 2 escort ships. But remember, disable their weapons. Don't destroy them. Give the crews a chance to surrender. Understood, sir. This was happening all across the galaxy. The Galactic Defense Network didn't fight wars of conquest. Instead, they protected smaller species from bullies and gave everyone the chance to choose their own path. The results were amazing. Species that had been held back for centuries suddenly began advancing at incredible speeds. The Velkhari developed new medical technology that could heal injuries that had been considered incurable. The Thornians created art forms that inspired beings across the galaxy. The Zephyrians invented new types of music that used quantum harmonics. When species were free to grow and learn, they did incredible things. 6 months after the Council's failed attack on Earth, Ambassador Yujin Kong returned to Zentara Prime. But this time, she wasn't there to negotiate with the Council. She was there to deliver humanity's final message. Council Speaker Velthari met her in the same room, where she had once asked for more time to consider the Council's demands. Speaker Velthari, Ambassador Kong said formally, "I bring greetings from the Galactic Innovation Collective." "What do you want?" Velthari asked. His voice was tired and defeated. "We want to thank you," Kong said. Velthari looked confused. "Thank us for what?" "For teaching us who we really are," Kong explained. "When you tried to blackmail humanity, you thought we would be afraid. Instead, you showed us that the galaxy was ready for something better." She gestured toward the window, where ships from dozens of different species could be seen in the spaceport. "Look outside," she said. "The galaxy is more alive than it's been in thousands of years. Species are working together, learning from each other, growing in ways that were impossible under the old system." Velthari looked out the window. She was right. Even on Zentara Prime, he could see changes. Alien species that had once feared each other were now trading freely. Young aliens from different worlds were working together on projects that would have been forbidden under Council rule. "You tried to keep us small," Ambassador Kong continued. "Instead, you taught us that the galaxy was ready to become something amazing, so thank you for the lesson." She turned to leave, then paused at the door. "The Collective's office still stands," she said. "If the Velthari people want to join us, they're welcome. We judge species by what they can become, not by what they used to be." As Ambassador Kong left Zentara Prime, she sent a message to Captain Soyoung Lee, who was now commanding the first mixed-species exploration fleet in galactic history. "Captain Lee," the message said, "the old galaxy is finished. Time to explore the new one." Captain Lee smiled as she read the message. She was standing on the bridge of the Unity, a ship crewed by humans, Velkhari, Thornians, Zephyrians, and 6 other species. They were preparing to leave the galaxy entirely. "Helm," she ordered. "Set course for the Andromeda Galaxy." "Course laden, Captain," replied Navigator Turkanthe, a young Velkhari who had graduated from the Interspecies University. "Engineering other dimensional fold drives ready?" Lee asked. "All systems green, Captain," came the voice of Chief Engineer Hei-1-Yu. "We can maintain the wormhole for as long as needed." Captain Lee looked around her bridge at the mixed crew of different species, all working together toward a common goal. "Begin wormhole generation," she ordered. A massive portal opened in front of the Unity, showing the distant lights of the Andromeda Galaxy as they entered the wormhole. Captain Lee made a final log entry. Captain's log. Stardate 2387.3. Today we begin humanity's greatest journey. We're not just exploring space, we're exploring what different species can accomplish when they work together. She paused, looking at the swirling energies of the wormhole around them. "The Council tried to blackmail us into staying small and weak instead. They told us that the galaxy and the universe was ready for something bigger than any of us had imagined." The Unity disappeared into the wormhole, carrying its mixed crew toward new adventures in a distant galaxy. Behind them, in the Milky Way, dozens of species were discovering that when fear no longer controlled progress, there was no limit to what thinking beings could achieve together. Humanity's greatest export had never been technology or weapons or even knowledge. It had been the simple idea that everyone deserved a chance to reach for the stars, and now that idea was spreading across the universe.